Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
Good morning. It's 6:07 on this Tuesday morning, 28th day of October, sneaking up on Halloween, 1 week away from Election Day in Virginia. There's a lot going on. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with O'Connor and Company. Coming up at 7:05, John Reed, the Republican nominee for lieutenant governor in Virginia. 7:35 brings us Delegate Nick Freitas. He was there at that special session yesterday. Sounds like it was a bleep show. We'll get into it. And then at 8:05, General Jack Keane on Trump's trip to Asia, his pending visit with Xi Jinping, and will he meet with Rocket Man in North Korea? We'll find out. That's all coming up. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Jules.
Good morning.
The shutdown continues. It's amazing, actually, if you think about the way the media usually covers these shutdowns. If you're wondering who the American people are blaming for the shutdown and who is responsible for the shutdown, all you need to do is look at how little the media is spending covering it, and you'll know that it's the Democrats. It's obviously the Democrats. Over the weekend, you had the Sunday show anchors, Kristen Welker and Martha Raddatz, et cetera, pressing Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary. You know, why won't Trump sit and talk with Schumer? And Bessent's like, he's got nothing to say. It's not his thing. He's ready to sign the continuing resolution, keep funding the government. He's not going to be held hostage. He's not going to be forced to the table because Democrats are demanding that Obamacare get propped up. No. I have to say, after years of watching Republicans sort of flail around D.C. when it comes to one of these showdowns, they've been incredibly disciplined and incredibly on message. And I think it's because they have such a simple message. Speaker Johnson's been doing a daily 10 a.m. press conference where he continues to reiterate the same thing. We Republicans have done the responsible thing. We have voted for a perfectly clean continuing resolution that continues Biden's spending. It's the Democrats who refuse to sign that. We're willing to talk to them about anything. We'll negotiate. We'll work out whatever they want to do to keep propping up Obamacare so that the American... In fact, Mike Johnson yesterday said, this is the end of the Democrats because the party is over at this point. We would love to prop up Obamacare and have that public debate because we want to point out to the American people how they ruined health insurance in this country, how they ruined health care in this country. But we're not going to do it at the expense of funding the government and doing the responsible thing. It's just absolutely brilliant. And he pointed out the only reason this continues is because Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are terrified of the Bernie Sanders AOC, Zohran Mamdani communist wing of their own party.
Absolutely right.
That's the bottom line.
They are running scared.
But there's two pressure points about to hit the Democrats. The first is the public employee unions are about to miss another paycheck. And yesterday, the largest of those employee unions made a public announcement saying enough is enough and the government shutdown. That would be the American Federation of Government Employees. They said, stop. Enough. And by the way, and the headlines will not be that they turned on Schumer or the Democrats. No, the headlines will be they called for an end. Well, calling for an end means Democrats, Schumer.
That's right.
Do your job. And
everyone knows that. It's sort of this wink
that.
And nod that the unions are not going to, they're not going to put, slap them across the face. But it certainly is known that the message they're sending is to their own people, the Democrats.
Right. And then there's food stamps. That's the other pressure point that's about to hit, and it's going to hit in just a few days as funding for food stamps dries up. Now, food stamps, everybody knows, is a federal government subsidy for food assistance so that poor people don't starve, right?
Yeah.
And, of course, started under the purest of ideologies, I suppose. No American should go starving. If the federal government can help those less fortunate with our tax dollars, let's do it. And then it got a bad name, which it should have a bad name, by the way. If you're reliant on other people to feed your children, you should step up and get your act together if you can, if you're capable of doing that.
Well,
and so there was this, yeah.
Yeah, just really quickly, because I've done a lot of research on, or a lot of work on these issues. It's now called SNAP, and
that's what I was getting to.
Oh, well, go on.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that they wanted to remove the stigma. It's like, oh, no one wants to be on food stamps. Okay, we'll rebrand it. For a while, it was EBT. Then they called it SNAP, right? But now they just want to give it a new name to make people feel better about having it, but it's still the same thing. It's
well,
food
the S.
stamps, right?
What I was going to say was the S in SNAP stands for supplemental. This was never supposed to be your entire grocery list. Okay, it's supposed to supplement your needs every month. And sadly, now SNAP covers so many things. This is why MAHA has gotten started. I mean, one of the reasons is because SNAP covers really gross things that are not healthy. I mean, this is not some sort of opinion. Doritos are not a health food, okay? And they are, I mean, you can go and get fast food and pay for it with SNAP. So there's a lot of questions, legitimate, fair questions about SNAP.
On the other end of that spectrum, you can get trashy junk food that is not nutrition, kind of taking away the N from SNAP. You can also use it to buy, lobster and
I know
flounder, and all of these, ribeyes. And it's like, this is supposed to be to help feed your, supplement your food budget to help feed your starving children, not, pay for a very luxurious steak and surf and turf meal at home.
That's right. And again, it's also just not supposed to be your entire grocery list. This is supposed to help, not provide everything.
It also was sold to the American people as nutrition assistance or supplements for people's diets to help starving Americans. Your fellow Americans are starving. Your fellow Americans, the less fortunate that you should feel guilty that you have a job and that you work a budget and you pay for your family's meals. Can't we just tax a little bit from your income and give it to those that aren't as fortunate as you? And of course, Americans, out of the kindness of our Judeo-Christian hearts, we do. We say, okay, sure. And by the way, most people who have a religious faith in this country, most conservatives, they continue to donate to charities through their church as well and help the less fortunate. We're a generous people. So remember that as I tell you the next numbers here, because we were told it was for our fellow Americans. Well, the fact is 59% of non-citizen households now use food stamps.
That's right.
Over half of the people who have come to this country are utilizing government benefits to feed their children. So it's not going to your fellow Americans. It's going to, and again, and they don't discern which ones are here legally or illegally. It's just based on whether you're a citizen or not. 59% of non-citizens get food stamps, Julie.
Now, some people will defend that by saying, look, you come here, you may be learning the language, you need some assistance when you first come here, right? Mm-hmm. Fine. And I don't know what the number is of people who stay on it. I suspect it's a pretty big number. I will also say, what an incentive to come here. You open that southern border, you come here and you get free food, apartments, cell phones, your energy costs are taken care of.
Yep.
There are what people don't understand, there's like 20 food programs that the federal government operates. It's everything from, just to give you an example, at school, when the school closes for the summer and for holidays, they still send food home.
Yep.
You can, in many areas, you can go to the school when the school is closed. You can still get in and get a meal. That is how generous these programs are.
And generous to non-citizens. And the word gets out, trust me. People who come to this country from other countries, legally or illegally, they're not stupid. They know that when they come here, they won't have to struggle to feed their families. And you're right. The key data point there is how long they stay on and don't get off and get on their own feet. Are a little bit more about, because you're about to hear a lot about SNAP benefits, I promise you, and it's meant to make you feel guilty, and it's meant to demonize Republicans for some reason when they're more than willing to continue funding these programs. But just so you know where the money's going. It's 6:15.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Your next $1,000 could be one text away. It's 5K a day on WMAL.
Afghan households in America, 45% of them are receiving food stamps. Somalian, 43%. Iraqi, 34%. Dominican, 34%. Cuban, 25%, Arab, 24%, Cambodian, 24%, Haitian, 23%, Pacific Islander, 21%, Honduran, 19%. That's how the nationalities break down there in terms of what percentage of those households from non-citizen households are receiving SNAP, food stamps. Kevin Roberts, president of Heritage Foundation, saw this data yesterday and made a pretty salient point, I think. No American should struggle to buy groceries while non-citizens swipe a government card for theirs. We turned food stamps into foreign aid and pretended it was compassion. That last point is so important. It's true. Where we used to send money to governments around the world that had starving children, instead we said, no, let's bring everybody here. And then you can just go to the grocery store and here's a card.
There's another very interesting, I think, an important point here is that it really starts to, because our taxes are so high and our taxes go to pay for programs like this. And as a result, we have less money to give to charities and charities struggle.
That's
and
right.
so it's less community involvement and soup kitchens and church ladies and community members helping out community members and these really enormous networks of churches and charities working together. And it's more federal bureaucrats who don't care about the individual and don't know necessarily about the community.
Well said. And there's also a mindset here where when Barack Obama and that regime of Democrats that really did fundamentally change that party and sadly, in many respects, our country.
Yes.
When they came into power, they measured success with programs like this in terms of how big they can grow it and how many people they could get on it. Whereas a conservative American, or one would say a traditional American, when these programs first started, we would measure our success on how few people needed them and relied on them. And
Larry, and you're absolutely right. And actually, Michelle Obama, when she was taking on the school lunch program, this was a really subtle thing. I wrote about this years ago. They changed the enrollment process. It used to be a parent would go into the school office and say, I need my child to get free or reduced price. They changed it so that if your parents sort of qualified for welfare programs, you were, as a child, automatically enrolled in free or reduced price school lunches.
Yep.
So again, it was, let's get as many kids on these programs as possible.
Yes.
Ultimately, it's because you can't trust parents.
Well, right. And then the government is the parent. Also, I began this segment saying in the good old days, it was food stamps where you actually had these little vouchers. And when it came time at the grocery store to pay your bill, you had to open up the book and you had to tear out the vouchers, and certain vouchers match certain kind of food. And there was a stigma associated with it. People would often talk about, how embarrassed they were in line at the grocery store to not pay with cash or card. They'd have these. They wanted to remove that stigma, and that's a problem. You should feel some shame that you're relying on your fellow citizens to pay for your food so that you are motivated to get off of that program.
You're right. And now it is a credit card. And Larry, there are women, and I'm sure there are men, but there are women who do these TikTok videos and show their carts, and then they stick their EBT or their credit card, their Snap credit card up into the camera and say, it's all free. They always say it's all free, right? Because they have no concept of taxpayers. And it is galling, some of the things that are in these carts. Nothing healthy. Very really nice food that I skip. So of course people are resentful about this.
Yes. Food is never too expensive when someone else is paying. I've learned that. It's 6:22.
Well, you guys probably heard that the Democrats in Virginia have called an unconstitutional special session. We'll give you the latest. Keep it here at 6:30.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 6:37, O'Connor and Company, Tuesday, the 28th day of October. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in 30 minutes, we'll speak with John Reed, running for lieutenant governor in Virginia. as we are just 1 week from Election Day. Early voting still going on, though, through this Saturday. 7:35, we'll speak with Delegate Nick Freitas about that special session in Richmond yesterday. In fact, we're about to dive into that in a moment. Also at 8:05, General Jack Keane on President Trump's trip to Asia, ongoing as it is. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Julie, good morning.
Good morning.
Quick flashback here. You remember Abigail Spanberger? She was that really moderate, middle of the road, sort of purple.
No,
She's
I don't
not really
remember that.
Democrat or Republican. She's just there to do the people's work, right? She just doesn't matter about party affiliation or anything like that. This was Abigail Spanberger about 4 Abigail Spanbergers ago, when she said that one of the most important issues facing our country right now, from her perspective as a congresswoman, was gerrymandering of congressional districts. I kid you not. Here she is.
You know, I think one of the largest issues plaguing our country is the issue of gerrymandering. I work with many people who their only electoral concern is whether or not they have a primary. And if you are in a D+20 district or an R+20 district, and your electoral concern is whether or not you're making your party base happy.
Yeah, that, she said, if you heard her words there, was one of the biggest concerns we have right now in this country. Fast forward to October 22nd, that would be just 6 days ago, when she got a check for $150,000 from Eric Holder's Political Action Committee that supports doing exactly what she just warned against, gerrymandering districts so that Democrats are safe and they can grow the Democrat base and party base in the House of Representatives. In addition, the Democrat Party of Virginia got $150,000. That's $300,000. Boy, you can change your tune quickly.
You
the
sure
very
can.
next day, Julie, Democrats and Abigail Spanberger came out for a special session of the Virginia House of Delegates that began yesterday with the sole purpose of gerrymandering Republicans out of existence in the Commonwealth of Virginia. They would be reduced to 1 congressional district if they have their way. Absolute outrage, especially just 7 days before Election Day, which I believe is unconstitutional. This is not going to pass muster. It's a stunt to take that money, and it's a stunt to get Winsome Sears off the campaign trail.
That's absolutely right. And, again, they want, you hear these statistics about how, in states like New Hampshire or Maine or,
Boston, every New England state, every single New England state. 40%
voted for Trump, and they have 0 members in the House of Representatives. 0. And that's exactly what they want to do to Virginia. Virginia, gosh, it's just, people think Virginia's still this moderate purple state. It is led by the most radical leftist Democrats. Yeah. And that is why people need to get out there and vote.
So it was an emergency. They had to call everybody back to Richmond a week before the election, thus taking Winsome Sears off the campaign trail, because as Lieutenant Governor, she presides as President of the Senate. They rush everyone there so that they can do this gerrymandering thing. So let's take a listen to how important things were. Here they are, Virginia Delegate Bonita Anthony speaking on behalf of her party yesterday. What was on the agenda for this special emergency session?
This is a dynamic Virginia-based nonprofit organization dedicated to the advancing of maternal health, reproductive justice, and culturally inclusive care for all birthing people.
People.
They spent several hours acknowledging important groups like that who have donated to the Democrat Party. They didn't even get to any business to the gerrymandering. Culturally inclusive care for all birthing people. That's what we're doing right now instead of actually campaigning a week before the election.
I hope people are paying attention.
Oh, Delegate Nick Freitas, who ran against Abigail Spanberger for Virginia 7 and was winning, by the way, in 2020 when we all went to bed, and then they found a thumb drive with 20,000 votes for Abigail Spanberger. She worked at the CIA, you remember. Just wanted to throw that out there. Not that it's related. Nick Freitas did one of his famous selfie videos as he left the opening session. Take a listen, cut 13.
Well, that was a cluster. So every session in the Virginia General Assembly have what's called the morning hour, and that's the opportunity where we get to actually talk about issues that are important, like, a random special session that was called up, which is going to completely alter the way that we draw political lines in Virginia. So, of course, we had an opportunity to speak, right? Oh, no, of course not. No. Speaker Don Scott, the guy that always likes to go to No Kings rallies, he's the one that essentially loaded up the entire morning hour with introductions from random people who were suddenly visiting the Capitol. And so that consumed the entire time, and we basically didn't get an opportunity to say anything in morning hour because this is what they think democracy is. Hey, why are we even shocked anymore?
Why are we even shocked anymore? Exactly. The plan right now would turn Virginia into a 9-2 or 10-1 Democrat-controlled state by next year. It would basically be Maryland.
Yeah.
It would be Maryland. And the timing here, the first vote was supposed to be yesterday to kill the bipartisan redistricting system. I don't know if they actually even got the vote in. November 4th, Election Day, would be the intervening election, even though early voting already started before the first vote took place, which, again, is unconstitutional. January 26th would be the second vote if Democrats keep the House majority, and then April 26th would be a special off-year referendum paired with another hot-button amendment to boost turnout that would then be, because this eventually has to go to a referendum for the people of Virginia because this is undoing, it's an amendment to the Constitution. The Constitution states that any amendment have to be posted to all Virginia courthouses 3 months prior to the next election, which is next week. This entire thing is a fraud. It's unconstitutional. It's just a stunt. Why voters would even contemplate giving these corrupt hacks, the Democrats, more power in Richmond is beyond me. Nick Freitas, who you just heard, he's going to be joining us at 7:35. And at 7:05, John Reed, running for lieutenant governor, will be our guest. Right now it's 6:43.
WMAL's Vince Colonnese, weekdays at noon on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Everybody's bringing in the big guns here for the Virginia election. Trust me, Democrats have a lot riding on Abigail Spanberger, and they are terrified right now. She had like a 17-point lead in one of the polls back in May, and now it's, people still consider her to be the favorite to win it, but that's because they always underestimate Republicans in Virginia. I remember 4 years ago, they were sure Terry McAuliffe was going to pull it out against Glenn Youngkin. Didn't work out well for them, so you got to keep the pressure on, got to keep the momentum. But we've already told you how desperate they are. They've already got every prominent Democrat nationwide, except Kamala Harris, which I think is interesting. Where are Kamala Harris and Joe Biden here for Abigail Spanberger? Sort of skipping them over, but they're bringing everybody else in. They brought in Buttigieg. They brought in Josh Shapiro over the weekend.
That's right.
They're going to bring in Barack Obama this weekend. Also notable that Gavin Newsom won't be brought in.
I mean, it's so strange that they're bringing in Gavin Newsom when Republicans keep saying don't California or Virginia, and then they're bringing him in.
Oh, no. Are they? See, I thought they weren't bringing him in.
I thought you said they were bringing him in.
No, it's noteworthy that they aren't. They're going out of their way.
Right.
They're going out of their way to distance themselves. I mean, anywhere else in this country, Gavin Newsom is the it girl for the Democrats. He's the number one fundraiser. He's got the mailing list. He's going and he'll go to the opening of an envelope. He's that craven for attention. But Abigail Spanberger is keeping her distance. She does not want to plant that seed with Virginia voters.
The other people that have sort of disappeared are some of the more radical members of the Democratic caucus, which is Danica Rome, who's the transgender. It's a male. He's a transgender woman.
Yeah, he's a dude that plays dress up.
And he is the one who helped defeat Sage's law, which would have protected kids against trafficking. And he's definitely a lightning rod. But he's remained very quiet, as well as Elizabeth Guzman. Now, she is the sort of famous member who introduced a bill to criminalize the act of denying your child what they love to call gender affirming care. So these two people, pretty horrendous liberal members of the Virginia Democrat Party, they're real quiet.
Right.
They have not been on the trail very much. They haven't been seen with Abigail Spanberger. So I find that fascinating.
Spanberger not using those Virginia Democrats to campaign with, also not using Terry McAuliffe to campaign, not using Ralph Northam to campaign. If you're a Virginia Democrat right now, you're nowhere to be seen supporting Abigail Spanberger. Instead, she's pulling people from, just like raising her money from out of state, she's pulling high-profile people from out of state. She had the Clintons in town. She had, like I said, Buttigieg, Shapiro. She'll have Obama this weekend. But now get this. This is my favorite one. This tells you the smell the fear, smell the desperation, and also wallow in the sad, sad reality of this video you're about to hear. First of all, it's Eugene Vindman, who replaced Abigail Spanberger as congressman for Virginia 7. And he has a video here with who he calls his good friend, Ben Stiller. This is, you know, you think Virginia politics. You think Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller, the actor and director and comedian, was dragged in front of a camera by Eugene Vindman. And, well, just listen to the feel the energy and excitement of this moment, Virginia.
Hey, Congressman Eugene Vindman here. My friend Ben Stiller and I were talking about the upcoming election in Virginia. Ben, you had some thoughts?
I just think it's important for people to get out and vote. It's a very important election. It's important to protect our democracy. Do everything you can. Make a difference. It will make a difference, so get out.
Let's do it.
I think that's my favorite part. Let's do it. Let's do it.
It looks like a hostage video. I do encourage everyone to look at it because it's
the lighting.
Definitely, there's no enthusiasm in Stiller's voice there. But if you watch the video, he looks like there's a gun to his head. He really looks uncomfortable.
Well, you know, just off camera, out of the shot, you can't see the right side of Ben Stiller's body. For all we know, the other Vindman, the twin brother, the portly dude who testified against Trump, he could be standing there with a gun in Ben Stiller's ribs. We don't. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm saying we don't know that's not the case. Is all I'm saying.
Yep.
It does the lighting, the background. There's like a gray curtain behind them, and they're dressed in like it's like 50 Shades of Ben Stiller. It's all gray. There's nothing but gray in this picture, including his hair, including his eyes, and the look of sad death coming over him. As I'm Ben freaking Stiller. I'm you know, and here I am standing with this idiot giving a 20-second endorsement for Abigail Spanberger.
Uncomfortable.
Couldn't even say her name. He doesn't know who's running in Virginia. Here, let's listen to this again. It's delightful.
Hey, Congressman Eugene Vindman here. My friend Ben Stiller and I were talking about the upcoming election in Virginia. Ben, you had some thoughts?
I just think it's important for people to get out and vote. It's a very important election. It's important to protect our democracy. Do everything you can. Make a difference. It will make a difference, so get out.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm sorry. Can we just feel the excitement a little bit further? Just a little.
Awkward.
Will make a difference, so get out.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go. We got to protect our democracy. It's like he knows all of the buzzwords, the little slogans that they've had. He doesn't even. He could not name one candidate running in Virginia right now. Protect democracy.
Also, just the idea. Why does that appeal? I mean, I know that maybe there's a segment of Democrats who that appeals to, but like to the average voter, does it really? You know, again, there's this idea that Virginia is changing. It's becoming California. These radical ideas, right? Our cities are ruined, right? Yeah. And then they trot out. I don't understand the strategy there. It doesn't make sense to me.
I think my favorite part is protect democracy, elect the CIA officer. That'll do it. Virginia, come on, man. Just hold on. You can do this. It's 6:54.